Turn to the last page of your notes and find what you see right here. Make sure you're finding the page that says notes, not the one that says practice, because the practice side will be for your homework. So today we're going to be reviewing solving systems of equations where there's more than one equation in your problem. Looking at number 1. Your job here is to make one of the variables eliminate. In other words, you want to be able to cross one of them out. So you look for ways to make that happen. In this case, crossing out the y's will be the easiest because you already have one that's positive and one that's negative. The only way to make that happen is if they both have the same coefficient or the same number in front. So what you have to do is take the top equation and multiply that entire thing by 2. And when you do that, you'll see easily which variable will cancel out. So I have to multiply 2 times this number. 2 times negative 6x will make negative 12x. And then I multiply 2 times this number, I get negative 2y. And then I multiply 2 times this number, and I get 30. Make sure you distribute it the whole way across, or else your answer will come out wrong. This one doesn't have to change. I'm just going to rewrite it as it is. Negative 3x plus 2y equals 30. So now when I look at them and I combine my like terms, I can tell that negative 2y and positive 2y are going to cancel, and I have negative 12 and negative 3 make negative 15x, and 30 and 30 make 60. When I divide them both by negative 15, I get an answer of x equals negative 4. But that's only half of the problem. I know what x is now, but there's 2 things to solve for, my x and y. So you pick whichever equation you want, and you ignore the other half for a second, and you plug in what you already know. X is negative 4. So you plug it in right there. Negative 3 times negative 4 plus 2y has to equal 30. Well, here we get 12. Negative times negative is positive. 12 plus 2y equals 30. When you subtract 12 from both sides, you get 18. And then you get y equals 9. So our answer will be written as x first, negative 4, and y second, x comma y. Now you do need to check because there's a lot of work here and you don't want to go through all that work and still get the answer wrong. So you need to mentally go back in and check using x as negative 4 and y as 9. So negative 6 times negative 4 would make positive 24 minus 9, and 24 minus 9 makes 15, check. And then you use your x as negative 4 again. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12 plus 2 times y, but y is 9. So that makes 18. 2 times 9 is 18. 12 plus 18 makes 30, so we know we did it right. Okay, here's another one. Think about which number you would want to eliminate, the x or the y. I think that the y's would be easiest, but right now they're not going to cancel. In order to make them cancel, you need a 3y, and this one would have to be negative 3y. So multiply the entire thing by negative 3 so that that can happen. You have negative 3 times the first. Negative 4 times negative 3 makes 12x. Then you have negative 3 times the middle. That makes negative 3y. And then you have negative 3 times 23. That makes positive 69. For the other one, you don't have to change it. It already has the 3y that we need. So it's going to be 7x plus 3y equals 7. So the negative 3y, the positive 3y cancel. 12 plus 7 is 19x. And that equals 76. That makes an answer of 4. So I'm going to take my x equals 4 and I'm going to plug it into the bottom equation just because it's easier than overlapping with the top. So we're going to have 7 times 4 plus 3y is going to equal 7. That's 28 plus 3y equals 7. Subtract 28 from both sides. Whoops. You get 3y equals negative 21. And when you divide both sides by 3, you have y equals negative 7. So our answer is 4, negative 7. And that represents your x and your y. But we still need to mentally check it. So negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16. And then minus 7. Negative 16 minus 7 makes negative 23. So we're doing it right. 7 times x is 7 times 4. That would be 28. And then 3 times y. Y is negative 7, so that makes negative 21. So 28 minus 21 makes 7. Yes, it works. This one's different though, because 4 and 5, it's not easy to make them cancel. You're going to have to multiply the top and the bottom by something to make that happen. So to make the x's cancel, we're going to try to turn them both into 20x. One of them is going to be negative 20x, and one of them is going to be positive 20x. So the top equation, if I have negative 4x and I want to make it 20x, I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 5. And when I distribute 5 times negative 4x makes negative 20x, make sure you distribute it to everything. Because now you have 5 times 4y makes positive 20y. And then you have 5 times negative 24, and that makes negative 120. For the bottom though, I can't cancel that as it is. I need to turn this into 20 as well. And since this one's negative, I need to make the next one become positive. So to turn negative 5x into positive 20x, you're going to multiply by negative 4. So negative 4 times negative 5 makes positive 20x. And negative 4 times negative 10y makes negative 40y. And negative 4 times negative 10 makes positive 40. Your goal is to pick one that's going to cross off. So that one crosses off. Over here, we're left with positive 20 and negative 40 makes negative 20y. And then negative 120 and 40 makes negative 80. So when you divide both by negative 20, you get 4. But that is your y. So make sure this time you're plugging it in for y. So if I use this bottom equation again, I have nothing to plug in for x. That's what I'm going to solve for. But it's plus 10 times y. Y is the one I know as 4, and that equals negative 10. So negative 5x plus 40 equals negative 10. Subtract 40 from both sides. Negative 5x equals negative 50. Divide both sides by negative 5, and x equals 10. So you're going to want to make sure that it's correct before you would enter your answer. So x is 10, y is 4, and those are the values that you check. So if x is 10, I have negative 4 times 10 would be negative 40. Y is 4, so that would be plus 16. And negative 40 plus 16 does make negative 24. Negative 5 times 10 would be negative 50. 10 times 4 would be positive 40. And negative 50 and positive 40 makes negative 10, so we know we did it right. Number 4, look for the one that would be easiest. I think the y's would be easiest. Think for a second about what would they both need to turn into. In other words, think about it like least common denominator. What number can both of these numbers, the negative 3 and the 2, become? I think it would be best if they both became a 6y. One will have to be positive and one will have to be negative. Well, in this case, the top is already negative and the bottom is already positive, so we don't have to change the signs. We just have to change the numbers. So to take 3y and turn it into 6y, you have to multiply by 2. So distribute. 7x times 2 turns into 14x. Negative 3y times 2 turns into minus 6y. And negative 28 times 2 turns into negative 56. For the bottom, we need to turn this 2y into 6y. So we're going to have to multiply by 3 this time. So we end up with 3 times a negative 4 makes negative 12x. And then 3 times 2y makes positive 6y. And then 16 times 3 makes 48. So you can notice that the 6y and the negative 6y can cancel. 14 minus 12 makes 2x. Negative 56 plus 48. And I get negative 8. So x equals negative 4. That's just a coincidence that it's always coming out to be 4 or negative 4. It's not always going to work out that way. So we need to figure out our y. So let's look at the bottom one here, and let's turn x into negative 4. So it's negative 4 times x, which is really negative 4, plus 2y equals 16. That's positive 16 plus 2y equals positive 16. Subtract 16 from both sides and you get 0. Don't think that that automatically is a problem. It's okay to have a 0. But when you divide both sides by 2, you need to think about what's 0 divided by 2. And 0 divided by 2 is just 0. You can have a 0 on top, you just can't have 0 on the bottom. So that's negative 4 comma 0, and that's x comma y. So we have to check it. X is negative 4. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. But y is 0. Negative 3 times 0 is 0. So negative 28 plus 0 makes negative 28. Check. Here, x is negative 4. So negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Plus 2 times 0 is 0. 16 plus 0 is 16. Check. All right, for number 5, we need to make one of the x's or the y's cancel. Both of them look just as easy, except that the signs are the same. In order to cancel, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So let's keep the bottom as it is, and let's try to make the x's cancel. So let's try to make this into a negative 4 so that both x's can eliminate. So I'm going to multiply it by 2, but I need to make it a negative 2 so that this could turn into a negative 4. So 2x times negative 2 makes negative 4x. And 7 times negative 2 makes positive 14. The bottom equation we can leave alone because it already had the number we wanted. 4x plus 10y equals negative 14. And then when you start to look at the like terms that would cancel, those would actually cancel. And those would actually cancel. All you have left is nothing on this side. And look on the other side. 14 minus 14, well, that cancels too. You have 0. When that happens, when you have no x's or no y's or no variables left in the problem, you have to ask yourself, is this true or false? True or false? 0 equals 0. Well, it's true. And when it's true, you have infinite solutions, or all real numbers. There's different ways of saying it. If it's false, you're going to say no solution. So in this case, 0 equals 0 is true. So my answer is going to be all real numbers. Or some people say infinite solutions. If you're answering this on IXL or Socrative, just make sure you follow the directions about how to write your answer. Number 6, let's try to make the y's cancel this time. I'm going to try to turn the bottom one into negative 10 to cancel with the positive 10. So the bottom equation I'm going to multiply by 2 because negative 5 times 2 would make the negative 10 that I want. So I'm going to leave the top alone. And that's going to be 6x plus 10y equals 22. But for the bottom, distribute that 2. 2 times negative 3x makes negative 6x. And then 2 times negative 5 makes negative 10y. And then 2 times negative 13 makes negative 26. So when you start looking at what can combine, those cancel and those cancel, you're left with 0 on the left side. On the right side, you get 22 minus 26 equals negative 4. And again, you have to ask yourself, when the variables are gone, there's no x and there's no y, you have to ask yourself, is it true or false? 0 equals negative 4, that's not true, that's false. And whenever what you're left with is false, you say no solution. But that only works when all the variables disappeared.